We're going to talk about Polkadot. Why I think you've not missed the boat. Potential price prediction here. So hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you are new, subscribe, hit the bell button, leave a like for obvious reasons. I hope you're well. Now, Polkadot. Most people know that I really like this, and it got me thinking why I think that people are kind of scared about kind of investing in this. I think this is majorly undervalued. I'm going to prove to you what my potential prediction is based off a number of different things in terms of elements of growth and obviously the ecosystem itself. So when it first came out, a lot of people were like, it's overvalued, it doesn't look very good. But I think as time's gone on, people have then read and understood how it works with the parachains, the substrates and all kinds of stuff like that. And then we've got that element of scarcity, which we do need to talk about. So, by the way, I like this a lot. I've already mentioned it in the video once. I'll probably mention it a few times today. I really rate this because it reminds me of what Ethereum was back when I first invested in Ethereum at the early 2017 stages, right? Follow me on Twitter, by the way. Link here, because I talk a lot about how I think this is important for the ecosystem and moving forward with layer one solutions. So when we talk about current market value, right? $33 billion, right? That is, in my opinion, very small. Ethereum right now, as sluggish and as suppressed as it potentially is a lot higher than this, a lot higher, right? When we look at that in a minute, what you'll see, because when you start looking at 180 billion, there's a massive gap there already. There's still, in my opinion, a 5x in this situation alone. But I think a lot higher, and we're going to talk about it. So when we talk about ecosystems, this is a starting journey point. We've got all these coins here, so obviously Kasama, Ren, Ontology, Web Token, obviously Polkadot, obviously what I mentioned yesterday with Origin Trail, Reef as well. There's a lot of good coins here, a lot of good coins, and I highly suggest you check out what is going on to the Polkadot ecosystem. But we do need to talk about why I think that this price prediction is just a start. And I think that, honestly, I know I want to try and be as realistic as possible here, but I do think that this price prediction is going to be an actual fact at some point in the not too distant future when you think about what has happened with Ethereum and how Ethereum is built into what it is right now. We've got to remember here, this market is still new in terms of layer one solutions. The ability of interoperability is kind of relatively new, and Polkadot is going to do it in its full entirety as a thing. It's going to link to all the blockchains. It's going to make a big difference, and that's important. And I think, honestly, I do think that Polkadot could be one of the main elements of why Ethereum will probably become even better, and also is going to bridge that gap between the market capitalization, in my opinion. So let's talk about a few things before we go on, right? If you don't understand how it works, there's a big thing here, and we're going to focus on the right hand side of this, which is bonding. New parachains are added by bonded tokens. So what that means is, in a simple words and terms, the companies that want a parachain or want to be parachain enabled have to hold Polkadot, a lot of them, for a long period of time. That's going to give price action. There's another thing as well that I do need to talk about, and I mentioned it on another video, is the scarcity number. There is only going to be, as it stands, an estimated 100 parachains. That is big. When you look at all the other sides, you've got parathreads as well, and this page you go mechanisms. But if you want to become a part of the ecosystem of Polkadot, you have to, as a company, as an entity, as a foundation, whatever DAO, company, you know the drill, right? In crypto, they have to hold the tokens, and it's an auction. It's a big, massive game of hungry hippos to get in that. There's no unlimited amount of tokens you can throw at it. It's like eBay. The biggest bidder wins. And we're looking at this thinking 33 billion market cap, and they're not even auctioned off yet. What big price action could be coming in the next coming year. So let's talk about the price. I think, and as I mentioned before, this is starting its journey. If, in my opinion, not financial advice, if you're looking for a safer hold and a bigger capitalization coin, instead of just going for Bitcoin, which I always recommend everyone should hold Bitcoin. But if you want to be like, I want to have a consolidated kind of portfolio, Polkadot should in my opinion, Polkadot should be in that kind of, that debate, that category even though it's relatively new, I would class this as a core holding. That's my opinion on it, and that's how I view it as. When we look at the fact of what Ethereum has done and continues to do, it's going to get better with Polkadot because of the interoperability, the ability to bridge with each other and talk about each other in the same vein, in the right method, because of who Dr. Gavin Wood is, who created it. But the fundamentals are clear. There's scarcity involved, there's a bonding period involved. That is a lot better than what Ethereum has overall. So when we talk about price predictions, we're not going to go too much on the price on the chart because it's going to go mental. But what we do know is, in terms of all-time highs, we've hit $42. That is great, right? We're currently $36, $37 right now. And I still feel that even today, when we look at it, the bullish nature of the BTC chart on this is looking absolutely brilliant, as you can kind of allude to here. But let's talk about market cap here. I feel this is going to go to 500 billion market cap in the not too distant future, i.e. the next 2 to 3 years in this next bull cycle what we're currently sitting in right now. When we look and start to consider the fact of parachains, how many tokens will want to be on the Polkadot ecosystem versus Ethereum? We've got to remember here, Ethereum 2.0 is at least a year away, fully developed, a long time. That gives a lot of grounding for the Polkadot ecosystem to crack on. Look at the price action with Kusama, for example. Kusama has been on a monstrous growth in USD pairs over the last few months because it is ahead of the cycle, because the testing is going on Kusama, and that's where it's going to start off on, and then it's going to gradually roll over into the Polkadot ecosystem. If people do not get essentially the parachains on Polkadot, they could get one on Kusama. Likewise with the pay-as-you-go or the relay chains, etc. So there's going to be a lot of money, a lot of tokens traded around, which is important. But when we start to consider the fact of the starting ecosystem cycle of this, Kusama is ahead, and that gives us like food for thought to understand what's happened with Polkadot. In my opinion, Polkadot hasn't risen enough yet. I don't think it has. When you think about the fact that it was consolidating around $6 for ages, and it's only realistically, because of the Bitcoin price has gone really high, it's only done like what, 700% gain essentially. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's not a lot in the fact of what Bitcoin was at that price. Bitcoin at these levels was like 10, 11, 12, 13k, wasn't it? We've got to remember that. So when we start thinking how Bitcoin's risen, it's tripled in price very, very quickly in terms of Bitcoin value at current prices. Actually went higher than that, went 4x. So that inflates it. But when we look at the BTC pair, that same passage of play before, which literally when Bitcoin was going mental, the BTC pair was melting. But what has it done from this low to current prices? 300% move. That's only a 3x, and it's just about to start in my opinion. So I think it's still undivided. $33 billion. I still think there's a lot more to go on this. You got to think how many coins with all those market capitalization going to run on their parachains, going to gradually increase the price with the bonding periods of that. So my prediction is I'm expecting at least a $500 to $550 Polkadot in the next coming years. For me, do I think that's unrealistic in terms of altcoins? It's not unrealistic. It's definitely going to be a tough slug. But you've got to think, what happens if Ethereum goes up in value? You've got to remember, what is Bitcoin in current market value? Well, when we look at Bitcoin, it's just under $1 trillion, a lot longer in time. Ethereum, currently 180 billion. If the ecosystem of altcoins picks up, and they're going to be swarmed by the big ones in terms of the enabling factor to put your chain working in a way that is a lot more, economically stable than Ethereum, i.e. Polkadot versus Ethereum as an example here. As a user of the ERC20 token, you don't have to pay a load of money to get on that chain because it's garbage. We know it doesn't work. It needs that upgrade. With Polkadot though, what do you get? Higher throughput, layer 1, you get better security, and you get interoperability, and you got to bid like shit to get on there because it's scarce, that's going to create a massive difference in price action versus Ethereum. You got to remember as well, how many companies will also go off Ethereum onto Polkadot? We're already seeing it now. It's already happening. We're seeing that from other chains as well, like of Ontology, from Neo onto it. There's a lot of things happening. So, wild prediction from me. I'm bullish on it, and we'll see what happens in the next coming years. But I think $500 billion market cap is kind of where I feel it's going to be, which is $500 to $550 on current circulating supply. But that's because of the bonding period, the token utility, the governance, the staking as well. It could have a huge amount of token flow. So yeah, that's my overall thought on it.